Will's older brother, more mature brother. You can tell because I don't have the goofy Will smile. So, Trish wanted this to be a roast, but to be perfectly honest with you, given my relationship with Will and all that, I didn't really feel like taking this in a roast sort of direction. I have a little bit different kind of a place I'd like to take you all. And the reason I say that, the fact is, we never expected to be able to have a 50th for Will. He wasn't supposed to live past 18. And, we're glad that you beat the odds and we're able to be here today. Now, don't get me wrong, this wasn't anything that a doctor would say. There's no disease or anything. This is what, like, teachers were saying, the police, my father, pretty much the whole family, any authority figure was, Let me give you a few examples. Let's see here. There was the time my mother went into the garage where we lived after Will had been in there playing and found that the cap off the lawnmower and all these burnt matches around it. And there was the time at the YMCA pool where he's trying to hold his breath for interminable length of time and of course passed out. The lifeguard is talking to her boyfriend and not paying attention, and his buddy yanks him out of the pool and some other bystander, and they call the he spends the night in the...
The lifeguard did give me mouth to mouth. And I was like 13.
Then they started dating the lifeguard. No, that's a different story. Then there was the time he almost blew off both his hands with fireworks and spent the night in the ER again. Went to his graduation with his hands bandaged. It was the elevator surfing in the building in downtown Brockton, and then he was so into school in grade school. He was so into school.
This part's not true.
That he felt compelled to go to the school after hours and climb up the building and getting up onto the roof. And then, of course, it's Will. He fell, broke his arm, came home with a story from my mother that he was running down the sidewalk and fell off the curb of the sidewalk and broke his arm. And she might be hearing the actual story for the first time.
She's not that gullible, Will.
It's still a little crooked, that arm, I think.
So, I'm the older brother, and Will always I was always aware that Will kind of admired me and looked up to me and idolized me. Really still does, I think. But, I became a police officer when I was in my early 20s, and so he's a teenager, and it was then I really noticed how much he idolized me. He was so interested in my job, always asking me questions about my job, and really intelligent thinking questions. He's going to follow me right into law enforcement, I think he's going to be a cop. He was asking questions like, now, how fast are you allowed to go before you have to give up chasing the offender? And like, what's the hardest place to hide, like, your stash? When you're frisking somebody, what's the hardest place to find that? And so he was very interested in my job. But he took a different route. He was, like I said, he was always very interested in education. He went into college at Massasoit and learned. He started studying to be an engineer, and he was learning how to get the electricity from the white wire into the red wire. And then he took some classes at Northeastern University in Boston, and he learned how to make those wires go into the blue ones. Then he went to UMass after his hands healed. He learned how to charge people exorbitant amounts of money to connect all of their wires for them when they got out of school. So he was graduating, as an engineer, and it was like 3 weeks to go. He says to me, boy, they're waiting a long time. I said, well, who's waiting a long time? He said, the school to teach me to be an engineer. I've been in school. This is my third school, and they haven't shown me how to drive the train yet. So, and he still hasn't got the chance to do that. But school was so important to him that in researching tonight and wanting to do a good job and kind of skip the roast thing and just do a good job, I talked to a lot of people, did some research, got some old records. One of the things I did is I got some records out of the Brockton School Department, old report cards. Some interesting comments I thought I'd pass on to you from old report cards. Some of them were very positive. Here's one from first grade. Will brings a lot of joy whenever he leaves the classroom. I don't know what that means. And then some of them were kind of cautionary. A second grade teacher wrote, we think Will's been working glued too much. And in junior high school, it got a little harsher in junior high school. As Mrs. Higgins says, if he were any more stupid, we'd have to water him twice a week. I'm sorry to bring this up at this point.
Remember, you're turning 60 in a couple of years.
And speaking about being an engineer, this person would not be helping that career. She writes, gates are down, lights are flashing, but the train is not coming. And even in I researched the medical records, even his doctor's report when he was born, the doctor had scribbled a note at the bottom of the chart. It read, it's hard to believe that the sperm that fertilized this embryo beat out 10 million other sperm. I don't subscribe to that. That's unfair. And he had an advantage. Will had a big advantage growing up because, well, frankly, he had me. I was there as the big brother to go to and help him through some of these situations, and particularly like dating advice, and he could come to me as big bro and talk about the ways of the world, the ways of women, the birds and the bees, and one day he comes to me and he says, he comes and he says, I've met someone wonderful. I'm in love. I think I'm going to marry this person. I says, oh, I'm starting to get. He says, well, you need to know, I'm quite a bit older than her. I said, okay. Now, Will, I know you're living in Vermont, but is she out of junior high? Oh, yeah. Then I had a chance to meet Trish. Beautiful, smart, wonderful. That too, but I was so annoyed because I had spent so much time with Will giving him love advice that advice was now wasted because Trish was how she was. I'd say to Will, don't worry, hang in there. I'd say all the things you say to someone that doesn't really have a chance. And I worked really hard at sort of lowering his expectations. I'd say things like, don't worry, someone will come along. There's a lot of dumb chicks out there. You'll find someone who's not paying attention or doesn't have very high standards. I was really helpful that way, and then that was all wasted because Trish came along, and I was wrong on that. In that regard.